Hello everybody, Andy Donachie here from the CPD Group. Just wanted to talk to you today about podcast accreditation and our editorial accreditation. Okay, so do you create content either in a podcast format or in the written word? Okay, either way, we can work with you to have that content CPD accredited. Okay, a lot of people don't think that that kind of content is something that can go forward for accreditation. But that's what here at the CPD Group we're all about. Innovation, taking things forward, moving things forward into the modern times. Okay, many providers now are delivering podcasts. They are bringing in experts from all different types of fields, talking about various subjects that are really important to the listener. So that educational content should be recognized in the same way as everything else. That's our opinion anyway. In terms of editorials, it's actually a phrase we coined ourselves. It's a combination of education and editorial. So if you're producing magazines that have educational content that is delivered to the readers, then we want to talk to you about CPD accreditation. Okay, there are lots of different ways we can work with you and making sure that your readership or your listeners are gaining the most out of the educational content that you are providing. So, what are we looking for when it comes to podcast accreditation? Firstly, we are looking for all those people involved in the delivery of the podcast. Is it just yourself, the presenter, or do you have guests coming in to talk about a particular subject and deliver that out through the podcast? We need to know who's involved so we can do our due diligence checks on those individuals to make sure they're qualified in their field. Secondly, we need to know what the aims, objectives, and learning outcomes are of the podcast. What are you trying to achieve by putting this podcast together? Okay, once we've got all that information and you've submitted it through our portal, our accreditation and compliance team will do all the due diligence checks that we need to do to make sure that our accredited framework criteria is met through your podcast. Once the accreditation is granted, you'll be given a unique code and a link to read out to your listeners so that they can use that code to retrieve their free CPD certificate. So when it comes to editorials, what are we looking for? So again, firstly, we are looking for those people who are contributing to the content. Who's written the article? Who is it that's actually put that content together? We need that information so we again can do our due diligence checks on the individual to make sure they're qualified in that area of specialism. Secondly, we need to see the content. We need you to produce all of the articles and submit them to us through our online portal to make sure our accreditation and compliance team can again marry them up to our accredited framework to make sure all the criteria is met. Once that educational content has been accredited, you'll be provided with a QR code that you can simply pop into the publication, ask your readers to scan the QR code to claim their free CPD certificate for taking part in your publication. If you want to engage our services for either our podcast accreditation or our editorial accreditation, then please do come and speak to us. The first step in the process, become an approved provider. You can find all the information you need on the website. Okay? Please do get in touch if you have any questions. We're happy to help. So don't just take our word for it. Listen to what these guys have to say as well.
You guys were just really helpful, open to the conversations. Obviously, it was something fairly new to you as well, so we were kind of maybe helping each other a little bit as part of that and to understand what was going on with it. But I've been really happy with the whole process and obviously quite privileged that we were one of the first publications, or maybe even the first publication in the UK that actually had an accreditation like this from yourselves.
Simplicity of access and pricing. So in the end, for me, that was a good package in that sense. And I also like the framework you have when you're on board, individual and organization as well, which explains exactly what you need to have in terms of policy, good standards, etc., which was very intuitive to use, and really helped me set up the right structure for even for my own organization.
We've been working really closely with CPD now for quite some time. The process of uploading the editorials, which we get in the magazine every month, has been really, really easy. One thing I will say as well is the team at CPD, they're always on hand if we have any queries, any worries, any questions. And we've had some great feedback of being CPD accredited. So yeah, it's been really, really great working with the team. And we look forward to continue working together.